us. He
And
also
cold start.
he's like herding cats is what he's trying to do here now. So welcome everybody to the We Annoy Steve chat. We have decided off camera that we are just we've called it the Annoy Steve chat because this poor guy tries to keep us in line and he can't.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
It works for about 2 minutes.
Do you realize there's a lot of people here? It's awesome to see all these people in the chat already. Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, or good evening, or good night.
Hey, Ryan and Snow. Nice to see you
Danny.
there.
Hey, I watch Danny's content. She's amazing.
Stacy, Danny, how's it going?
Yeah. I watch her content on YouTube. She does an amazing job. Hello, Danny.
Yeah, welcome. This is our co-op chat. This is our live chat, talking about various board game topics. Try to do as weekly as much as we can, generally with a cooperative focus. So, yes, we are here live and in person to talk about trying to do covering games without making rules mistakes. That's the topic today. So it's going to be a
perfection. We are a perfect society, right? So we do perfection in board gaming.
Speaking of perfection, did anybody notice that I've redid my whole back wall of gaming now?
No, nobody noticed that. No one noticed that. No one noticed that, and no one cared. I'm sorry, no one cared.
Like even I got to put a wall scroll up. My wife does not approve of any of my wall scrolls from back when I was a dorky anime lover, and so I finally got to put one up. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Keyword trying. Yes.
So Steve, as Steve said, our topic is rules mistakes and making rules mistakes, whether through VOD or live streaming.
Yeah, it doesn't matter either way. But as Ryan pointed out, royalty never makes mistakes. So
that's true.
Retaliation deal. We did a couple there.
Barrett doesn't make mistakes. The rule book is just wrong.
That's
oh my gosh, I am totally going to use that. I'm stealing that from you, man. Totally stealing that.
It should be part of your intro.
And if you notice I'm making mistakes, I'll put a pinned comment in the video where the rule book was wrong.
So, yeah, kidding, Snow. Myth would be a video without mistakes because Barrett knows about it so much he probably knows it better than designers.
I do. This is true.
Oh, I like Michael's one. Improvised house ruling. There we go.
There we go. Love
it. So for me, my channel, I make mistakes during playthroughs. I always tell people, if you're coming for a perfect playthrough, you need to go someplace else. I'm going to mess up. My job is to have fun and enjoy playing the game. I will try to get the rules right. I won't try to do it on purpose, but it happens. I am a flawed human being.
So I'm pretty sure that I don't actually make mistakes when I stream because it's on Twitch, so there's really no VOD. So if you can't catch it, then you really didn't make mistakes. So
there you go. There you go. That's true. It's like sickness. You're not sick if you don't go to the doctor. It checks out logically. It checks out.
You see nothing. It's gone now.
Hey, I ask chat all the time, like, y'all, did I do that already? No. Okay, moving on. See, I never get corrected. Therefore, of course, now, like, my next stream is just going to be hot garbage.
So I have an interesting history with this because when I first got into the hobby, that's before I ever even considered doing content creation at any level. I was on the side of the fence that's like, hey, rules errors are bad in videos. Like I was definitely one of those people, meaning that like I was okay with like a couple errors in a video. That didn't bother me, but it was enough errors in numbers, it would bother me. And this is coming from watching a VOD because in my mind, by the way, I've used the term VOD or VOD. We're talking about video on demand. We're talking about recorded videos. So that's what that is. So a little context for people. But like to me, if it was a recorded video and you had these errors, that means you had the opportunity to fix them. That was what I was thinking back then. So like, well, after so many errors, you had the opportunity to do it. Why didn't you fix these? Is what comes down to it. Do I still stand by that? I absolutely do not. My mind has completely changed. So So anybody out there who had the same idea as me, if you did content creation, your mind might change. Let me just put it that way. So
I think
I was
perspective is the best
Now,
is the
Steve,
best thing for that.
Steve, I've got a question for you. If I remember right, weren't you on the boat where not only you would do your playthrough when you're editing it and you found you had like an error in it, you like redo your playthrough?
no.
I still do that.
You still do that.
Yep. In
Okay.
fact, Fire Siege is a most recent example of that. I did a preview for that. I sent the preview video to the team, and they watched it. And there was a couple errors, but one error was, in my opinion, pretty significant. So I just trashed the whole thing and re-recorded. So that is something I will still do. So yes.
So when
If you
I
look
was
for
getting
perfection.
started, I was like actually very apprehensive about even getting into this because I was so afraid of making mistakes. Like I was so nervous about it that I think I spent months like just trying to like do things perfectly or whatever, and then I ended up going to Twitch instead. But I was so scared for months about making mistakes. Now I'm just like, happens.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
And it's not like anybody's trying to make mistakes. I don't think that's
Right.
ever the case, right? It's everyone's
Right.
trying to do as best they can to put out the best quality they can. Once it comes down to it. Now, I do want to make a distinction between rules mistakes and suboptimal play. I think those are two very different things, and I often feel like the comments that come across that are almost saying rules correctly, but it's really like, hey, you played suboptimally. But there's a reason for that, and I can get into that in a little bit here.
Well, I know we have a level of things to go through for this chat. So we're just kind of talking about rules, mistakes, and how we deal with them. I want to get into what you talk about suboptimal play, and then put it off on the latter half on responses to rules, mistakes that come in, right? So how do you want to flow with this? How do you like?
Wherever you guys would go with is fine. I can jump into the suboptimal play thing if you want.
I think Elaine has it best. When Barrett taught me that I make no mistakes, I'm having fun. That's the deal.
Well, so here's the bit, right? I'm the same way, but I've actually run across content creators who are not. They're like, if you say, well, we're just playing to have fun, they actually get pissy. And so they're like, no, you should be playing the game according to the rules and have fun at the same time.
See, and we do our best. Like Steve says, we do our best. I will tell you when I'm doing my recorded playthroughs, my board game is all set up. My camera's there, blah, blah, blah. I got everything ready to go. And then to the side, of course, I have a rule book laying there. And if I'm lucky enough, there's a PDF of the rule book on my computer. And I have Board Game Geek up on my computer as well. And so I can usually, if I don't have the PDF of a rule book, that's a pain in the butt, by the way. Because you can, I think it's like Command or Shift 5 has become my best friend. Like, I got to find the rule for grenade. Shift 5, grenade. Oh, there's three things. First one shows picture of the token, grenade token. Next one, it goes down. It's like, oh, this is where the rule for the grenade is. Awesome. And then I read the rule, and then I realize, and then I interpret the rule how I want to. Usually is how it goes. That's usually how that goes. And then I find out I did not interpret it right. But that's okay. As long as, and you know what, maybe that's a way for people to understand, to like look into the rule book a little bit. But on top of that, I have Board Game Geek up because when I do look at a rule, and I'm not exactly sure how that works, you can go to Board Game Geek and use the forums, and I type in, hey, just out of curiosity, how am I doing this right if I use this with this and this? And I will guarantee you, if it's like in most games, I can get a response back in less than an hour to know what my rule, what the way it should have been done. Now, that sometimes means at that point, because it's something instrumental, I will pause my playthrough. You guys can't because you're live, but I would pause recording the playthrough, go have lunch, maybe work on something, and then all of a sudden I'll see the answer and I'm like, oh, that's great. Now, another way to also figure out rules problems is if you have the ability to contact the designer or somebody of that nature. And believe it or not, even if you don't have a channel, they love, for some, most I would say, love for people to reach out and get rule things, because it shows that people are passionate about the game to them and that they're really excited that you want to know how to play the game. Like I've had more people message me, or I've had, as I'm recording it, I'll ask a publisher a question or a designer, and not only will he respond with the answer, but he's like, "That was awesome. Yeah, if you have any more questions, please let me know. I'd love to answer them." It's a lot of stuff. Yeah, now I'm not a person that reads into people or emails very well, so I would take every one of those as, "Oh, this guy's awesome. He's super positive about this. This is fantastic." Maybe in the way he wrote it, I should have read into, "I can't believe you didn't get that. You understand that? And please don't contact me again." In a nice way, and I just don't get it.
So that's why you keep responding to my emails. No, just kidding. I do want to jump to a quick question from the chat. Michael has a question here. He says, is there a different approach to sponsored video and fun videos?
Yes.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, I say yes only because if it's sponsored, then your opinion shouldn't be in it.
I guess
my opinion's never in it.
I guess it depends on what you mean by sponsored, because like for me, and I think you guys are the same boat. I don't want to speak for you necessarily, but like I don't charge for content for publishers. So for me, is that sponsored? I don't know. Now, is it sponsored if they send me a copy to cover it for a game? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But regardless, like for me, if there's enough rules errors, or if the rules errors are significant enough, I will generally redo it. So
I do not. I just like you. I don't charge for content either. But my caveat to sponsors is I will give my true opinion on this game if you're going to send it to me. So that's how it is. But for those who do charge for content, the channels that do charge and receive them, if you're being, I think there was a huge discussion about this like a little while ago, but it's like if you're being paid for content, then your videos need to be like Barron's, where it's just you're showcasing the mechanics, you're showing a playthrough, and your opinion is not in there at all.
I think for like, at least for me, if I get like a copy of the game, I don't know if I would say maybe if it's different, it's more subconscious, because then I'm just so much more nervous about wanting to do a good job that I might just be, whatever, and like showcasing the play or whatever. And then it's a little like less fun because I thank you. Like I just want to do a good job. So I would think if anything, I might be maybe a little bit more hyper vigilant. On the other hand, one thing that's amazing is then usually, somebody from the publisher or the designer is like in chat and you can be like, yes. Did I do that right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I agree completely. That's a huge benefit of doing live for those types of videos, because they can help you and fix it right then and there, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yep, I don't have that option a lot of the time. Actually, I don't think I've ever had that ability, because the only time I've ever done live stuff is with Colin, and most of the time we're doing stuff that's either old or we're on like play number 623 of it. So it's like that's the way we set everything up. Our goal, which isn't always going to come to fruition because we've already started talking about what we're going to plan to do in the future. Our goal is to at least have a play on the channel that is a video on demand, because those are way easier for people to understand mechanics, to explain rules, to explain all these things, because not only my personal opinions, because not only I can do a full setup of this game, then I can do a full run through of a turn. I can do it, and then it starts speeding up a little bit because you've gone through some of this stuff. But when you're doing it live, a lot of this stuff, like I'm telling you, when I do those videos on demand, again, that rule book thing right there, I am going step by step through this most of the time. And it's like, it takes me a while to get through these all, because I want to make sure everything's in order, everything's explained, everything like that. But you put me on live camera and it goes out the window. Like,
and I think that that's the thing. It also depends on the complexity of the game, right? So I'm going to use a complex game that to illustrate my point. Any game from Mind Clash. Just any game from Mind Clash is a complex game. And if you are solo playing, I'm a solo player. So if you're solo playing and you've got all these things to mitigate, and you're live streaming, looking at the chat, talking with people, going on what's happening there, you're making sure that your OBS and all your other digital stuff that you're doing is not breaking down so people are hearing the optimal sound, right? And you're not having audio issues. So you've got 10 billion things going on. You're gonna miss a step. But but the audience is amazing, so they always say, "Hey, you missed to do the step." The after effect is what is where, like, once we get through the segment, when we get to that segment, is where I have feelings. But once I'm playing, I'm gonna miss something because there's a lot of things going on when you stream, and I think that either one, the audience kind of knows and they're like, yeah, we know you're doing this and we accept it. Two, or it's like, okay, well, they don't get what's going on while this is happening or behind the scenes. Or three, they just think you should be perfect.
I don't think the squirrels in my brain would allow me to stream something complex. Like, that's why I've made the decision to also do pre-recorded on YouTube. So I can stream things like, Scholars of the South Tigris once I have time to play games again. Like, you play like cartographers on stream. And like, there's just no way any of this could function on a high level while streaming. Like, it just, I have to
really
like
difficult.
delineate
It's really
the two.
difficult.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, I'm sure many people have the big joke, of course, on our streams. First off, Robin is right. I forgot that Toby did jump into a lot of our Oathsworn playthroughs, and he was one of the designers of Oathsworn. So we did get a lot of Toby jumping in, which was really it was really cool to have him there. It really made me feel so excited to have like a publisher who was that invested in his game that he kept jumping into our streams and stuff to say hi and like help us out and things like that. But the joke of our whole actually, if it wasn't for Colin there, I don't think our live would be even close to good, because it works so good because Colin is in charge, if you've noticed, of all the reading. He's in charge. And like Derek said, it takes one person to be in charge of the chat, to make sure OBS isn't falling apart, to make sure all your cameras are working and all this. So if I have a clip that I took out, I'm trying to make up a like best of 2022 like live streams, and one of them is when I played the one with Robin and Colin, and all of a sudden Robin turns to Colin and goes, "Now you stream with Baron a lot. Does he normally not pay attention like this?" And Colin just goes, all the time. It's like all right here. And I'm really just talking to you. All he's doing is dealing with the chat right now.
I felt like Colin had a moment to be able to vent his frustration to somebody that would listen. And so she was just waiting for
no idea.
But I think you bring up I think you bring up a really good point, though. Like, if you're streaming with other people, you have more than one person to also catch a mistake, like not rolling for mob bosses to come out.
I don't stop.
Shots fired.
So in the beginning of the video, I specifically said I'm going to forget this because and it happened plenty of times. So I don't know why.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're streaming solo, or even if you're not streaming, if you are playing a game by yourself, solo at home, you are responsible for knowing every little thing. Yeah. Or if it's like a finicky game or, a fiddly game or whatever, and you're doing all these things. But if you're playing with somebody else, they'd be like, "Oh, hey, by the way, did you do that?" You know what I mean? So like, if you're solo and you're recording film or doing any of it, it's this extra layer. Like, but if you have another person, whether on camera or off, it's automatically easier to not make mistakes.
Yeah, and it's the reason why one of the reasons why I love Game of Palooza, because when I go to visit Steve and Kim and I play games with them, I get into the playing, and then you'll hear Steve like, "Hey, you forgot to do that." It's like, oh shoot. So there's always somebody helping me, and it feels so nice. I miss it so much.
Like you said, a second person can be the chat that's also helping, especially if it's like a major thing you're missing. All of a sudden you'll get somebody in the chat that is that knows the rules and can be like, "Hey, just a heads up, you forgot that step." I'm like, "Oh, totally fine. Totally remember that." But I have to admit, on a video on demand, if you saw my retaliation video, I forgot the bag development step like 3 times in a row. And there was no way there to catch that until I went to edit it, and I was like, "Oh, I missed that." Oh well. And then come in. That's all you can do. Or like Steve said, you re-record it. And I'm like, I am not re-recording 4 hours of video just so I can like make sure this is perfect. Because one, that's 4 hours. 2, the game itself, when it came to the end, that whole experience was absolutely amazing, and I wanted people to see it. So that's the other factor I got to put in is, was that amazing? And I want to make sure that people get to see this, even though I made some errors. And that's just the deal.
So-
That's how it goes.
So
I actually used to
I-
re-record videos if it wasn't representative of the game too, which was that
Wow.
got to be allowed. I no longer
I
do that
have
just
never
because
done
it's not
that.
sustainable, to be honest.
I
As
have
Barrett's
never done
response,
that.
like
I
it's
let
just
the
not
cards
possible.
fall how they fall. I shuffle everything up. I
Yeah.
roll all those dice, and whatever happens, happens. If you win, you lose. There's like, you saw my Orquest second Orquest video. The patrols never came out. Well, never came out. Not showing that mechanic today. Never came out.
Well, quick question on that, actually. For VOD, if you're going to do a cover for a game, do you stage it
No.
to demonstrate different parts of the game?
I do not, because again, I don't charge. So if they're giving me a copy to show off the game, I'm going to show off a game that you might play.
No, I mean, like,
So when
if
you
there's
say
a rules
stage,
thing
what do
that
you
would be
mean?
good to show people, do you stage the deck so it
What-
happens, or whatever it is?
No, but I have gone in and after the game is over, or if I've gone past that step, because when I do it, well, a lot of the times I will say like, okay, then you draw this card, and what we're looking for is something like this and this and this, but you could have this happen. And then as I'm playing, if it doesn't happen near the end, I'll say, now imagine if I would have drawn this card, this would have done this and this and this, and then I'll explain what it is. But I don't ever stage anything. I don't ever make things happen. But if something that I want to showcase doesn't happen, I will talk about it near the end if it hasn't happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I wound up doing too, honestly. But
I don't think I have the time and energy to do that. Like if I did how to play instead of just playthroughs, then maybe I would. But I don't know if I have the energy to stage things too. And if I did, then my votes for women would have turned out differently.
Dan's got an interesting
So when you-
question.
Yeah.
But you'll
Daniel's
tell-
Do
got
you
an awesome
rewatch
question.
all your videos from start to finish after the stream or recording and try to catch mistakes? For
For me-
VODs,
oh.
yes.
Yeah,
Like,
I
yes,
try to
but
catch
not
them
for
when I'm
response.
editing. It doesn't mean I will, but while I'm editing, I do try to watch. But usually, also, after you spend so many hours editing, you don't want to look at it anymore. So,
Yeah.
or at least I don't. But I do try to catch them while I'm editing.
Yeah,
I don't
remember
I
that.
don't for Switch streams. though.
I don't for my live streams. I don't have the time to do that. I wish I did, and also I hate the sound of my own voice.
Oh,
So-
that's funny. Nope,
Me too.
I will go through.
I'm like, why do y'all listen to me? Jeez.
Oh, I watch every video I do again because I love the sound of my voice.
Oh,
do you
Aaron.
just like play it at night as like white noise?
It's like wave sounds. It's just him talking to
Yep, I
himself.
put myself to sleep at night. Because then I guess you can say I put myself to sleep by turning on one of the videos and I fall asleep to myself. So here's the deal. So on VOD, my whole process is I record it all, then I'm editing it all, and as I'm editing it, I'm looking for any errors I made, and then I put subtitles in as I'm editing it. But once it's all done and uploaded to YouTube, I will listen to it again. Now, of course, I'm listening to it at 2.0 speed while it's on YouTube, and all I'm looking for then is just something I might have missed in the editing process where it came to a gap in editing, like I might have had a dead space in there or something. That's all I'm looking for the second time I watch it. And I have a tendency to, I wouldn't say I watch all my live stream stuff again, but I do have a tendency to kind of forward through it because I like to look for those funny moments. Like Steve has talked about how he can like cut out these funny moments. And we, Robin and I do watch all the Dungeons & Dragons stuff we do again the next day. And
Oh
laugh
God,
about it.
really?
Oh yeah, we love it. It's fantastic. That's yeah, Robin, you're right. Yeah, I am.
Speaking
Well,
of that stuff, Barrett's has inspired me because right now I've got a bot to help to take clips, so to help share that stuff out more because I think that's an amazing thing to do. So I just took a clip of that just right now, by the way. But
Snow says I have a soothing voice. That's something else.
I don't know. I like Robin's comment here. He's mine. Just like, can't believe
She leans into it. She leans into it.
he does.
And I also have found though that as I'm editing, I don't know about you guys, but there are many times I fall asleep editing videos, maybe because I don't get a lot of sleep to begin with. I'm kind of an insomniac and I'll get like 6 hours of sleep a day. And so I'll be sitting there on the couch watching the video and all of a sudden, I gotta go rewind back to figure out what I missed. Or like, where was I when I fell asleep? I've done that with rule books too. I fall asleep doing that stuff. So, I mean, the life of a gamer is tough, man.
But yeah, I want to get back to the
on this. Hold on a second. I got one little story, then you can go, Steve. I promise. So
here we go.
I don't know if Colin's going to kill me for telling this story, but so at one point, that One Stop Co-op Shop organized some of the videos when they did like their new like logos and stuff, and they kind of redid the like one of Colin's playlists for Lord of the Rings card game or something, and some guy actually like messaged on there. He goes like, why did you redo these things? I mean, I use these to fall asleep at night, and now it's in a different form. I can't even find where I was. So I want to try to fall asleep, and I was like, so I know there's somebody out there listening to my stuff to fall asleep to, and I was like, and he told me, he goes, I guarantee there's people out there too. I'm like, for listening to your stuff, I was like, I don't know how you can do that. I'm such high energy. You're like, really most of the time. All right, Steve, go ahead.
No, good. Yeah, getting back to having other persons with you helps a ton. So Kim helps a lot with my streams because, like you said, Derek, we've got, well, I don't know if you guys can see, I'll probably put on the screen here, but I've got the Stream Deck right here, which is just like the one piece of equipment I can't live without. It is a macro keyboard, does all these commands for me and stuff like that. Got the chat up here. I've got watching audio levels, all that stuff. I'm making sure the game is in focus, all the levels, all that stuff. There's a lot going on. In fact, I even was looking at getting foot controls so you can get controls underneath the table to like trigger stuff.
What? Are you like trying to drive a car now?
Yeah, basically. Like that would probably make my life a little easier to be able to have some controls down there. It's insane, you know. So like, I'll just put in this perspective. Like when you're doing,
you
all
could
this
just
stuff
get
on your
3 like decks. Like why not?
Insane.
Just stock up.
It's a lot, guys. I'm just telling you guys, a lot. So when Kim's here, she does an awesome job to help pull out those fun moments because my brain is on all these different things, and it's really hard to juggle that stuff. It's really tough. Really tough.
It is. I think for me, I think the only VOD series I started doing was Factorio. So it's just I'm just playing that as VOD, but everything else board game related is just live. So as just kind of doing solo, it is a rough go, I gotta tell you. But it's fun. I have a good time doing it. But it is solo managing everything is a lot.
Hardcore.
And it's upside down. Steve, flip my camera.
No, they see it correct. You're good.
Oh, they see it correct?
Yeah, you're good.
I wonder if they see me correctly on the stream.
Dan's got a question here. We'd love to know what you programmed on your Stream Deck for efficiency during lives. I'm struggling with mine. I can do a separate video on that if you're interested. So people want to see the how sausage is made, as we talked about recently on Baron's thing.
Let's talk about Steve's Stream Deck, Danny. Steve has a Stream Deck. He comes in and he presses one button and the whole thing turns on. One button. What? The whole thing turns. He's like,
I don't even have an off button on mine.
I just say, I whenever I go over there for Game of Palooza, I'm like, okay, well. He's like, all right, we're ready to stream. Okay, I need to set up. He presses one button. The lights turn on. The camera turns on. Everything turns on.
So I know I can connect my lights, but I figured out how to do it.
Voice controls that does the same thing.
What controls?
Me?
Yes, Derek, you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, if you're interested, what's on my Stream Deck?
Steve and I go back and forth in terms of like tech for streaming. So he gets in a kick where he starts researching something and he gets in the zone. And then I see what he does and I'm like, ooh, what if we do this? And then I start researching something and then we just kind of pass things back and forth to where we're just building everything up.
And I'm a stream vulture. I just and grab what's left and put it in mine.
Well, what was great was what we laugh about constantly is the intro videos that we do. And so Steve starts doing I see Steve's intro video and I'm like, hey, that's cool. Let me try that. And I'm going to try adding something to it. And then Steve's like, "That's cool, but I borrowed that from you in the first place, right?"
I cracked him so much because like Derek messaged me. He's like, "Hey, can I steal your intro video?" I'm like, "Dude, you know I stole that from you originally, right?" So I'm like, yes, of course.
It's just it is refreshing when we have, because we both like the tech, that we're like constantly talking to each other about the latest things coming out. So it's fun. Having someone else definitely helps with making the channel better. Steve is amazing. He helped me with my audio mic issue.
I'm glad we got that fixed. Oof.
Oh my god. So I'm always grateful to have that.
Barrett, I want to help you with your comment section there. Your comments.
That'd be great.
We gotta find some time to do that because I know we're close. I know we're close.
We are close. It's somewhere in the stratosphere. Somewhere out there.
Yeah, Danny's
mouse. He's somewhere out there.
Steve is the expert. Steve is the expert on all things tech. Take all tech questions to him. It is what needs to happen.
I agree. I think that there should be a little like help desk in the Discord. Tech help desk.
I can make
for
a
content creators
who are interested. Sure.
who just really can't figure out their own life, let alone their stream decks.
Well, if anybody's interested in one of my stream deck, just go watch one of my streams. I usually hit every button at least once by accident. So true.
Barrett, I do the same. It's so hard to keep this stuff in straight. It's so hard.
Colin be like, "Why don't we go back to the board?" And I'll hit the button. I'm like, "Right, talk time." We're both big face right there. Hey, how's it going? I'm like, "Okay, wrong button. Let's try this one." Oh,
Yeah.
You don't label
100,000 monitors like all interacting with each other. And I'm like, "Oh, that's the wrong one." Oh, there we go.
You don't label yours?
Yeah, they're all labeled. That doesn't mean I'm going to hit the right. I got one labeled talk time. I got one labeled keyboard. I got one labeled the cur. I got one labeled blade. Yes, they are still labeled this from our Swarm playthrough, and we finished almost a year ago. And we got one labeled like Archer. And no, it's not the guy from the cartoon show. And then we got the ones that all say Southeast, Northeast, Northwest, Southwest, Monster, full board, full board, and like in full force. Maybe I don't even know what the last one does.
The best. It's cute. The Jen thinks he would read the label.
Nope.
The best, Barrett. I don't know if this has happened to you or any of y'all. I don't know if this has happened, but when you zoom in on something and then you get distracted by something else, so you forgot that you're zoomed and you're continuing to play, but you're zoomed someplace else
all the time.
That's why I stopped zooming. 100%. With the one time I streamed Final Girl, I was like, well, that was stupid.
I've been really.
Why didn't y'all tell me?
I've been really tempted to give that control to the viewers, but I'm really torn on that. So like,
ooh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
So the viewers can zoom out just in case I forget, but we'll see.
If you give it to the viewers, you're gonna have to put something about like how you could epilepsy and strobe lights and all this kind of
No, just zoom out. Just zoom out.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah, no.
You can imagine it's like zoom.
Okay, you guys have control of something like flashing lights in the background and like cameras going up.
That's exactly what happened if I gave control to the live chat. So.
There'll also be a live shot of Steve's face, then it goes over to Kim, then it goes back like setting.
If the emote wall has taught you nothing.
Exactly. Okay, I want to jump back to the topic a little bit here.
What are you talking about? We're on topic.
Yeah, sure.
No, we're not.
More so than usual.
One thing I want to bring up is talking about rules corrections versus suboptimal play. So, when I like to watch a lot of videos on like what makes good content, right? Not saying I know how to do all this stuff because I definitely don't, but I'm always looking for people who know better than me, right? And one thing that comes up a lot, especially when it comes to like the video game space, right, is like why would people come watch your video game streams? And there are two factors that make good content when it comes to that stuff. One is having a skill level that is amazing in that game. Like, hey, I want to watch this guy, watch this person play because they are amazing at first-person shooters. Look at that skill they do. Wow, that's awesome. They get a lot of views that way, right?
That guy no-scoped him from 50 yards away.
Exactly. So that's...
Yes, I do know some terminology. Ha ha!
So that's one way, and the other one that draws people there is something unique. Like, oh, I wrote this mod. Now this game does something very different. I'm gonna go watch someone play this because it's so different. Like, so basically, those are the two factors that will draw attention in a lot of ways, because it's different than everyone else. How does that apply to board games? It's really, really hard to. That doesn't really apply. But I bring this up because I think the comments about suboptimal play is a little bit in line with good content, right? People want to see someone in board game space that can play a game to a level that is exceptional, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, or maybe not.
Well, what do you? I guess say more. Like, what are you looking for?
He wants you to destroy the monster with the best weapons you could have at the time to benefit from all your character's skills.
Here's a good example. Spirit Island. Let's play, like, if I play Spirit Island, I can play it at a lot of these difficulty levels. But if I play it at difficulty level 6, like, that is super hard. People want to see how you can manage a win in that situation. Or maybe, what's another example? Frostpunk, right? Different difficulty levels in that game. Play the highest setting. Can you beat at the highest setting, right? That is, in a sense, demonstrating skill. It might be interesting to watch. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
So my thought is unless you're somebody that only plays like Arkham LCG or only played like Spirit Island or Root or Villain, people that are known for the games that they play, most of the time we're all playing so many, and not just us, but anybody that's doing content, you're not playing a game most likely 20 times before you cover it. Right. You're playing it 3 times, maybe 5 before you're covering it, because then there's like also like the next game. So I can't imagine, and especially just how everything works of that whatever's hot at the moment and Cult of the New and all of these kinds of things. It's not like you have a ridiculous amount of time to know the ins and outs of the game to be 1, perfect, and then 2, be optimally perfect.
I agree with that completely. Yeah. Yep. And Jan mentions too, like, for us, I think we're all on the page of we are playing the games to have fun and just share with people. We're not necessarily trying to be as perfect. We're trying to obviously do the best we can, but we're not trying to put out perfect or amazing skill levels out there. That's what comes down to it.
And
except for Derek, because he's amazing.
Exactly, because it's like, obviously, if we're doing this for fun, like I'm doing this for fun. If I wasn't doing this for fun, I wouldn't be writing a paper on the Chicago Union's stockyards right now. Like
that sounds like that sounds like the most boring thing that you could possibly do on a Saturday.
I'm a history major, and I don't even want to learn that.
Well, it's for my American environmental history class, so Bubbly Creek is a very interesting situation. But like if it was, it was something that was a full-time thing, then maybe like that would be more of a thing. Maybe then I would play, Tiny Epic Crimes 25 times before, I do a video.
I don't think I would, though.
Like, I probably wouldn't either. There's too many games. There's too many games. How many games did you come home with from Gen Con? Like,
okay, so and now going back to Steve's analogy, he's talking about video gamers first to kind of see if we could find a way to like bridge the gap into optimal play, right? So first off, video gamers, if you're watching the streams on video gamers, most of the time, like Jen said, they're doing one game. They're doing Call of Duty. They're doing Fortnite. They're doing something. Now, if you're noticing, a lot of these, now for us, when we're doing games, we're behind the scenes in the programming is the random elements, the things of that nature, which we don't see sometimes in video games, where in board games, we see the random element being the dice or the card flip or something like that, right? Yeah. Okay, so the only way you can really technically suboptimally your games, sure, there is ways to do it, is to me would be something like a Euro that doesn't have a lot of luck involved. It's just running down tracks, right? So when it comes to something like Kingdom Death, I could have just crafted the greatest weapon of all time, and then I roll a die and my guy got deboweled, right? Yeah. And that's just the end of him. And so my optimal character is now very suboptimal because he can't move and he has no guns. And I wish I would have done something else, but we didn't know that was going to be coming, and there's no way to ever plan for something like that. So I think when it comes to board games, there's a different way of reaching suboptimal levels. Like Jen's saying, though, if you're playing one game, just like they do in the streaming world, I shouldn't say that because not all streamers do play the same game over and over, but generally some of the top streamers for these games, it's like the only game they play, right? So if we're only playing one board game, people are coming to that channel to watch, like Jen said, the optimal play. How do I create the best Arkham Horror deck that's going to get me, or Lord of the Ring deck that's going to get me through that mission or something, right? And so then I go through and I'm building that deck, showing what I'm doing and showing why it's the best deck you can play. It's removing as much of the random element from that game as possible. But when you start playing, like Jen said, we're playing lots of different games. We're not optimal players because we're not playing that one game over and over. Sure, there might be a sure-cut reason to take a certain weapon or a certain ability or something like that. And a lot of times, if designers design their game well, you shouldn't see that. You know what I mean? There should every aspect should be viable.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. There's
yes,
board gaming. I wouldn't agree with you on Arkham because that game is chaos. But it's just but I think that you're right. I think the only way that you can get what you're talking about is through a Euro. To get that closest comparison to video game optimization, best play type of thing. Because you got to remove as much RNG as possible. Mm-hmm. And then you can say, okay, what's the optimal play to do the best thing? And then whatever's injected in just goes through the machine to give you the optimal outcome.
Because if I'm playing like a role-playing game, I know that if I go to Beggar's Canyon and go to the third cave after I defeat the Womp Rat and turn right, I know there's a chest there that's going to get me an orange lightsaber. That's like in games, in video games, that's usually how it plays out.
Yeah,
not a lot of that random, like you see a lot of things like how to get your best guy. First, you got to go here. Like when I played, what do you call it? What was the game that I wanted to cry every time I turned it on? It was Elden Ring. When I played that game for about the first like 10 minutes of the game that I ever played it, I realized that I was going to cry every time I played this game. And so then I started going online going like, oh, I should probably build my character so that I can actually do stuff. And they're like, oh, here's a good build. I'm like, okay, this guy knows his stuff. He got a good build. So you have to go to this castle and you got to get this treasure chest by defeating this thing. But in order to do that, you got to go get this to do this. And I was like, so this one game of the year, really? And, well, I'm not playing that one. And spoiler alert, I never finished that game.
So I don't know, like Steve, does that kind of answer the question around that?
Oh, it sure does.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, come on, I did a great job.
Well, I just think some recent examples from my perspective where I still haven't finished covering all of the new Spirit Island spirits from Nature Incarnate. Because what I did in some of those videos is I played at very, very low difficulty because I'm streaming a new spirit I've not seen. I've only played like maybe once before the stream, maybe twice. And so it's all still very new to me and how best to play that one. And so I know I definitely got comments, hey, you won, let's increase the difficulty. I'm like, yeah, let's do that.
Jen said she was done with this.
Yes, I don't know what happened there. I'll try to fix that.
Just hang out with suboptimal players.
She'll be back.
Okay, so and basically trying to like figure out how I can how to cover that game, and I've got all this stuff I'm managing. I'm also trying to still learn this spirit, and that's what makes it difficult, right? Yeah. And so then yes, I am playing suboptimally because I'm part of the learning process. Then maybe it gets a little bit to your streams, Derek, where you were playing Marvel Champions, right, with new characters, but you framed it as learn with me, right?
0 to hero, yeah.
Exactly, which I think is a really nice way of presenting it. People are clear to know what expectations are, and maybe that helps. I don't know, but I don't necessarily think we need to lay that out each time for our content either. So
don't worry, Gavin, I got it.
Yogi says, content-wise, you kind of want to watch the struggle so that you get the game yourself and dominate it. Coming from perspective of viewer. Yes, you can not do our mistakes. It's very true. Very true.
Yeah, when it comes to, I don't know, when it comes to that stuff on playing optimally, I take that with a grain of salt, because if I, she said her internet went out, so she's trying to wait for it to come back.
Okay.
Well, I have an issue though, because you guys do something I don't. You guys play games that have a start to finish, usually in about using her phone to get her.
Yeah, she's back.
You guys play games that have a start to finish.
We can hear Barrett.
Well, you guys do things that you start to finish. Jen, you're back. Good to see you. Oh, so
Wait.
We can hear Barrett.
Oh yeah, because yay, there I am. Am I there? Okay.
There, yes.
Yep,
I was trying to pull up the chat to let you guys know. My cable went out.
Victory is yours. You have returned in all your glory.
I didn't even have to do anything. That was amazing. Except for sitting here like, no.
Yes, that's what it was.
Okay. Well, hi. I'm Jen.
How these guys play games that are have an optimal way of playing where I don't. That's usually where.
Well, clearly Comcast does not have an optimal play either.
What game do I play that has optimal?
So here's the deal. You guys, I know, have a tendency to play games that are one and dones a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you play a one and done, oh come on, Kenji, you sold all your dungeon crawlers.
Well, I still play Arkham. I'm playing Earthborn Rangers, and I love me some KDM stuff. So I still play Ultra Tour.
I of course am kidding, but I have noticed that people are more interested in if you're playing a game multiple times over and over. For example, I'm just throwing it out there because I know these happen. You guys play a lot of Marvel United. You guys play a lot of Gloom of Killforth. You guys play a lot of Spirit Island, things of these natures, one and done, where you have played it multiple times a lot. I know you're trying to learn new spirits, try new characters out, all this stuff, but at least from a game perspective, from the surface, you can see usually how how this is all going to transpire. You know, it's not like you're just picking up a game and trying it for the first time. You've played these games multiple times. And so you kind of get the whole gist of what could potentially be coming or has come in the past. So I think when it comes, you have more chance of being able to play a little more optimally than somebody who, for example, me playing like Orc Quest, where I have no idea where I'm going or what's going to be coming out or anything like that, right? So I think there is a level at some point. It's not a full level of optimal play, but at least you can get to this level where you can start by going, okay, so we're going to do this because I know that this is going to have that eventually things of this nature might transpire. So I want to try to mitigate that as I go up. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A little bit. Did I actually make sense?
A little bit.
What?
Nice.
I was kidding.
What?
For example, just a horrible example. But for example, which I sadly is the one beef I have with this game. Otherwise, the game would be probably in my top 10. Whenever you play Gloom of Kill for something, at the end, you're always fighting the bad guy.
Yes.
So you know at the end you're going to be fighting a bad guy.
Yes.
And if you haven't played before and you're just like throwing it on the table, you're not going to suboptimally play to make sure you're fighting a bad guy. Now, the more you play it, you're going to start taking characters that are going to make it more of a challenge to get to that point where you fight the bad guy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But you still know in the end you're going to be fighting a bad guy because you've seen every bad guy. You know every bad guy ends with a fight. Spoilers, sorry.
So just to that, can you say fighting a bad guy one more time?
Fighting a bad guy.
So I know it's getting later, and so I want to move on to the next part of this, if this is okay, and that's talking about feedback that comes to content creators when it comes to playing the game rules as written perfectly or imperfectly, as we should say, right? If when we make mistakes, what's helpful, what's not helpful, and just kind of how we respond to those things that we get. And I'll just kind of open the floor for that.
So I'll go ahead and say there, I fully welcome rules corrections and even suboptimal play comments. I won't be acting at all on suboptimal play comments. I'll just, hey, thanks for the tips, right, type thing. Because it's nice to know. But the rules comments I completely depend on, honestly, in some situations, because like some things, if I don't, sometimes it's I don't know what I don't know situation, right? And so if you say something that, oh yeah, I missed that, thanks, I appreciate that type situation. Now, there comes a point of how you address that, which we'll probably talk about here in a second, right? So there's different ways of presenting that. That it could come off, and here's the big thing is it could come off as being condescending. I guess a little bit.
That's the word you want to use for a Saturday.
I guess so. I don't know. Rude, I guess. Like sometimes, and the problem is it's text.
I gotta look that
right?
word up. Hold on a second.
When you write text, we don't know what inflections or how you're saying it, right? You can be read a couple different ways sometimes, and that definitely plays a role. I always come across it that like, okay, this person means well because they're taking time to comment on my video, right? So I always initially start that way because it means you mean it. It means enough to you that you're just taking that effort, right? Now, fortunately, most comments I get are people are awesome. I have no issues, of course. Sometimes they come off as being rude, and I normally just try to think like everyone has their good and bad days, and maybe it's just come across and how it's being written, and that's fine. I always try to put a positive spin on it as much as I can, even if it comes out as being rude. That what can I take from this as a growth opportunity? Now, there are still some comments that, even despite all those, semi-mental state to be accepting of all that stuff, that it's still just hurtful sometimes.
Rude. Yeah,
right.
It's still rude. Yeah.
Exactly. And unfortunately, that is what you'll come across as content creation and doing videos and stuff like that. So it's a part of the job is how I've come to accept it.
Yep.
And Jen, what about you when it comes to...
I've been very, very lucky, and maybe it's just because I am newer to the YouTube side that I've only had like nice, like helpful comments. Like one of them I could think of when I did transmissions, like I talked about the AI's turn, I think, and then I forgot to actually just do the freaking turn, like whatever. But somebody commented or noticed that and like commented it on it. But I have to admit, I am so scared for the day when I like get a mean comment because, like obviously there are trolls out there and there are people that are just miserable or have other things going on in their lives that make them miserable. But, that's not helpful. You know what I mean? So, and some people just want to be hurtful, but luckily so far I've been like really, I've only gotten nice comments. Hopefully. I'm sure you guys will hear about it the day that I don't.
I wish for them all to be kind and loving going forward for the rest of your life.
Barrett, what about you?
So there's, first off, nice comments are fantastic. We get them all the time because this is a fantastic community. I'd say it's one of the best communities when it comes to actually supporting the creators in that space. You know what I mean? Jen, you've got only nice comments. Love it. That's fantastic.
Or nice or helpful.
Now, I will say, sometimes I want to say that some of the comments come from people that this is their life game. And all of a sudden you're playing it and they're excited to see it. And all of a sudden you failed miserably in a few places. And they're like, I can't believe you got my favorite game of all time totally wrong. Like when people get rules wrong in Myth, I just want to strangle them. No, I'm totally kidding. But and those people and that could be where some of the comment comes from. Yeah. Others could be a translation issue because, of course, they're from all over the world commenting on your videos. There could be a language barrier. So sometimes I never know where the concept of a rude comment is coming from. But I always want to make sure that I'm taking it at a grain of salt or I even had a comment once come off that was really kind of a rude comment. And instead of reacting to it, I said something very nice to the person and explained that it was very helpful that what they said is going to help me improve in my creation of content because it was, I don't know what it was. And then he wrote back almost like within about the next 2 hours, he fully apologized. He's like, I am so sorry for how that comment came off. I was having the worst day. I had just had something horrible happen to me, and I was watching your video, and I was just so mad at the world that all of a sudden I just wrote it, and I feel so bad about that. But thank you for not like being mad at me back. I'm not a mean person. I didn't mean that. And I was like, oh, that's totally fine. I'm glad I was able to be a place where you could vent out some frustration.
Yeah. Well,
So I've always, I think it's because I'm Midwestern, but like, I think I've talked to some people before, and I kill them with kindness a lot of the times, because I really feel that genuinely inside they meant well. It might not have came off even close to that, but I'm sure in their mind, once they step back and maybe look at what they wrote, and if you write something nice back, they might come and realize, actually, that now they think about it, that wasn't the best way to put that. And I'm glad he didn't like come back at me, because I might become defensive about what that person might say of my comment. And that's just the way I've done it. Because I believe that every comment should be on a video, no matter what it is. I've never deleted a comment from my videos ever. And there's a lot out there that are not the greatest, but flipping it on its head, or not flipping it on its head, but at least trying to take out the good parts of that comment and putting that into my next videos, or the way I'm going to work in things, is just something I do. I think does that answer the question?
Yeah,
it does.
I think it does. For me, it's tough because
it's never tough for me, because I always feel that people had their best intentions.
Well, even with people having their best interest, or they're trying to be their best selves, should I say? The tough part for me is as Brene Brown calls it, I won't curse on a Saturday, so I'll say the poopy first draft. And the first draft that comes out is what I usually pass by Steve and Barrett. So I said, here's the reply I'm going to post. What do y'all think? And let them massage it. But it's just
a lot of massage. No, I'm kidding.
But I think it's just more, it depends. I mean, like you said, everybody's got something going on in life, right? Mm-hmm. And it might not have nothing to do with the playthrough. It might come to a time where someone, just like this one gentleman, had a bad day, and so you were the target of all that aggression. I think that the reason why the crappy first draft comes in is because I could be having a bad day, mm-hmm. and I read that incorrectly. And text translations, whether you're an English speaker or not, half the people who live in the U.S. doesn't speak English correctly. Okay, so whether you're an English speaker or not, text comes across as someone interprets it and not as its intention.
Correct.
So I think that when I have a crappy day, that's the reason why I create that crappy first draft and I send it to them, because I'm like, here's the comment I got. Here's how I feel about it. And then usually it's, something, the response is the intention that I want to put forward, because I've gotten through whatever's going on. I think there's two sides of it. We can recognize that people are doing the best that they can, but people also have to recognize that we're doing the best that we can. Mm-hmm. And when those things kind of conflict, that's where these comments, you get that conflict in conversation in a comment section. I think it's great, Barrett, that you're able to kind of take a step back and say, even if I'm having a crappy day, let me wait until I'm not having a crappy day so I can accept this and read it through. Whereas for me, it's like,
take a breath. Take a breath. Yeah. Like, not in a comment, but there's like a thing, like right now, like yesterday I read something. I'm like, I think I'm going to respond to this tomorrow. Today is not the day to respond to this.
Yeah. And I think it's very important to one, while we're sitting here saying, okay, well, or even Barrett sitting here, he's going to take a beat before he sends out a comment. I think that responsibility is two-sided, because I think the person posting the comment needs to take a beat before they put the comment in there. Yep. And while you are that catch-all, Barrett, to say, hey, I recognize, hey, thank you so much, sorry, this wasn't optimal for you, and you kill them with kindness, I think there's a responsibility on the commenter themselves to kind of say, if I made a rules mistake, am I going to go in there and say things to a person that I wouldn't want said to me? Let's put it like that. And if that's the case, should I be saying them?
The other there's a couple things. One is sometimes people aren't good at communication through the social media. I mean, people just aren't. I mean, there's a person that I work with that is the really nicest person when you're talking to this person, but whenever this person emails you, it's like all of a sudden they went through like this horrible, like life-changing experience, and you are going to be taking her like full force death attack. I mean, and when I talked to her about it, she's like, "Oh, it's not how I meant it," and I'm like, how else was I supposed to take that? I'm a horrible person for a living. I mean,
yes. So there needs to be. I think there needs to be accountability
right.
on both sides.
Sometimes those comments might come from people like that just aren't very good at the tact of being able to use the written English language, or like I said, even a language barrier. The other thing is I've also noticed that as my community has grown, I've noticed that there are people in the community that are also, I'm just going to say they're on my side. So if something comes in like that, I've noticed that they've also stepped up and kind of said, hey, he might have done that, but we really enjoy what he does. And I'm sorry that you felt this wasn't good. Like people in the community even post on that comment, usually under mine because I've already said my comment. And so it's really neat to see that the community itself also understands how we do this and what we're doing and what to expect. You know what I mean?
And Jan put in here, Jan, let's clarify this. I always got to clarify. Jan saying I'm a bit lost with one thing. Are we saying you all would prefer not to get rule comments? Incorrect. We want rule comments. We want all rule comments, all rule mistakes that we made, all errors. We even want, if you're like, you hate the playthrough or you like the playthrough, put all the comments that you want in there. All we're saying is, before you say, hey, you are the worst YouTube streamer I've ever seen in my entire existence, that you take a second and say, if someone said that to you, how would that make you feel? And then think about what you want to type before you type it.
I would say 99.9% of the comments I get that are rules corrections are very well worded, and they come off with the intention of, hey, if somebody's watching this video, you might want to know that there was a mistake at this point, so that if you're playing, that you'll know to make sure not to do that same mistake.
Right. And I've gotten comments about, like, I did a Frostpoint playthrough recently, which I played suboptimally, and the responses I got was, one, hey, we noticed you're struggling with this. I wrote this guide on it that can help you get through that. Check this out. Here's the link. And that's it. Amazing comment. Next comment. You suck at this game.
Yep.
Which one do you feel is helpful to me?
That's not constructive, Derek.
But which one do you feel is helpful to me when it comes to rules wise? The one that says, hey, this game's tough. Here's a guide read this guide, you'll be better at it. Or just the blanket statement of, you suck.
And
which one do you think?
And it's completely acceptable to say, like, hey, I don't like this video for whatever reasons. That is very helpful to us, right? I'm not saying don't send us stuff. I'm agreeing with what everyone's saying here. Like, negative comments are very, very useful. I actually, I don't know about you guys, but I actually like negative comments because it gives me something tangible to work on, right? Gives me a point of improvement, which helps a ton. Because you know what, I'm always looking for ways to improve. I know my faults, right, for sure. I've got plenty of them that I'm always trying. Everyone has their own internal battles they're working through, right? What comes down to it. The only person that doesn't have any faults is Baron, but he's royalty, and that's why. So,
okay, so future teacher, right? So, I mean, even if, like, one of the things that we learn is when we're doing assessments or whatever for our students is that you get feedback, whether it's positive feedback, you say, hey, not just great job. It's, hey, you did these things very well. Keep up the good work, kind of a thing. Not just not just negative comments. So it's good to have positive, feedback, but it's also good to have constructive criticism. If you're not getting either, then you're not knowing what you need to work on and what things you do well. So it's good to have both, not just really mean things either.
And I think when they're coming at you with negative comments, that's where I want to know why it's a negative comment. I loved just getting a comment that said, like, hey, awesome video as usual. Fantastic. Love to hear that. That's fantastic. Means I'm doing a good job. What I'm doing, that person loves. Great. Hey, your video sucked. Fantastic. My video sucked. That's great. Fantastic. Doesn't help. Your video sucked because I couldn't see what the aliens were doing. Okay, great. Now I know going forward, it's better to have more think about what the alien was doing. Got it. I didn't show the alien board enough.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Or something of that nature.
And I think that's the thing to Jan. I hope that clarifies things. It's not that we don't want the negative comments, because that helps us improve and be better.
And then one more thing,
it's that if you give me like Jen said, if you give me a negative comment without an actionable item, what do you want me to do with that? Other than be like, I'm sorry, that's the kill that kindness. I'm sorry, this video isn't for you. I hope there are other channels out there that probably does a way better job than me. Hopefully they'll have something you'll enjoy.
I will say that if I get a negative comment that say, hey, your video sucks, whatever, I will always follow up with, sorry you feel that way. What about that was the problem, right? Because for me, unless you have that actionable item, it's not useful to me, right? But
100%.
Yep.
Jen seems frustrated about something. Nope, she's good.
No, she's opening up her
I forgot to charge my AirPods earlier because I have two. So I grabbed the ones that weren't charged, and they've just been going off like constantly for the last 2 hours, telling me that they're dying.
No,
so I'm like, fine.
Talking like a jerk. I've been going, come in it.
But I didn't want to wear my cat ears because I had my little puffs today. So
plot twist, they're actually earmuffs. She's tired of hearing us talk.
I wish I had that problem in life. I couldn't wear my cat earbuds because I had my puffs on tonight. I don't even have enough hair to even have a puff anywhere.
But,
just think about it. You have like hundreds of little puffs everywhere, just individual.
Sure. Fantastic. I am a puffball now. All right. So I've got one more question. When it comes to getting these comments about rules change errors and things of that nature, what do you do with them? Okay. For example, Colin takes the time to put a Klingon subtitle into every single part he does a wrong part. And that's a very common thing for creators to do. I have come to the point where I have a lot. I don't have a lot of time on my hands. So I've learned from rolling solo. This is how he does it. And I think it's a great way to do it. Tell me if you think what you think. He does a thing like no one errors in his first comment. And then he'll say like forgot to do this at 1643. And then he thanks the person, like, thank you, Jen. And then does that. And then he goes number 2, like, didn't roll the dice for the alien. Thank you, Ted, or something like that. You know what I mean? And I found that that's what I start doing, because then, and then I pin that comment. Unless I found somebody who has actually found apparently all the errors I did in one part and wrote them all in his thing, then I'll be like, this is fantastic. I love the fact that you did this. Do you mind if I pin this? Most of the time I get no. So I just pin that comment to the top and say, like, here's rule errors. Check this out, kind of thing. Or do you go a step further and do other things?
I'm with you, Barrett. At first, I was doing the Klingon, trying to mess with that. That's just too much. I much prefer the pin comment. And because that way it's just right there below the video. I can just scroll down a little bit, see all the errors and everything. But one thing I haven't done is put the person who found it after that. I'm going to start doing that now. That's a great idea.
I stole it from Rolling Solo, so I can't take credit. That's kind of how
from him too. Then
his thing.
So, that's good.
So I personally prefer Klingon subtitles, because a lot of times when I'm watching YouTube, I'm not watching from a computer or my phone. I am watching it from a TV. So to get to the comments to see if there's comments for corrections or anything like that is like a lot more difficult than just having Klingon subtitles on and I can just see it. Also, if I don't realize there's a mistake, I'm not probably seeing it I'm not looking for it in the comments. I'm usually, if I notice a mistake, then I'll go to comments to see if somebody's already commented on it. So unless I know to look for the error, like I don't look at other people. So Klingon subtitles is my preferred choice because it's real time for the viewer. And then I just do it as soon as I get the comments so that I don't have to, because I'll forget.
Tim made an awesome joke here, by the way. But I think it's something we should probably clarify real quick in case someone doesn't know what we're talking about. Klingon subtitles is a common way of having a visual prompt on a video, because what you can do is no one speaks Klingon actually, so you can actually type in what that caption should be.
I want to learn. I really do. I really want to learn Klingon.
That would be
You
fun.
can take it. It's a college course.
It was a college course?
Yay, that's the 3 credit hours I need.
That's amazing.
You would be able to go to every Star Trek convention and converse.
I will
Yeah,
let you
that and Elvish, like those are my 2 foreign languages.
I
I
will
want to
let you know as a live streamer, I'm not putting Klingon subtitles in my stuff.
Oh no, not for streaming. No.
I will not be. So yeah, my thing is if people are like, yeah, they want that or they won't watch it.
No, definitely not for streaming. I would never. No, like streaming is streaming. Mistakes happen. Move on. But if I'm doing a VOD, or pre-recorded, I try to catch it in editing. If I catch it in editing, then I'll put like some sort of caption or whatever. But then if I still miss it, like skipping the AI turn, then I will. If somebody else catches it, then I'll try. I hope I can put it in there. I should
Would you go back and put it in? Like, would you go back and redo the video and then?
Oh God, no! You just go into Studio, YouTube Studio, and you just go to that marker and you put the subtitle in. You hit save and walk on.
You can't actually redo the video because if you did that, it would be a whole new upload. You can't replace videos on YouTube.
Yeah, the reason why the Klingon subtitles started happening was long ago when YouTube first kind of started, you could put subtitles in your videos. Like you could physically go in and type subtitles into your videos, no problem, boom, they just appeared. Then they had the subtitle tab that you had to choose. And then you had to choose the language you were doing and all this. And the reason you use Klingon is because there aren't people trying to learn it in Spanish. Like if you were learning it in Spanish, and you decide to put your subtitles in there and the Spanish subtitles, all of a sudden people trying to learn in Spanish that are reading the subtitles also have a double subtitle all of a sudden out of nowhere. But like you said, majority of the people that actually speak Klingon usually speak another language on this earth. Well, it's usually why that works, which is why we use the Klingon subtitle. I like I said, I used to do that, but I kind of stopped. Colin does it really well, where he'll go, even at the beginning of the show, his videos, he'll say, hey, just to make sure you understand, I want you to put on Klingon subtitles. So if there's any error post-editing that I've made, that will come up. And then as he does it, so make sure you're reading right now Klingon subtitles, because he'll actually put his first Klingon subtitle right there that says like Klingon subtitles.
Thank you for using Klingon subtitles or something like that. Yeah.
Right? And he also says, and if I do, make sure you put the timestamp so I know where to put that thing. He also says that in his video, which is really good. I usually just say, hey, this might be wrong. If I'm wrong, please check out the comments below, where I'm going to put a pinned comment post video that might explain some of the rules errors I've done wrong. And like Jen said, that's not that helpful as putting a subtitle in, because I might not catch that as I'm watching it. But a lot of the times the people that are looking into those comment sections are trying to A, learn the game, or B, if you did something that's different from what they're doing, they're like, was that really how that goes? And then they'll look into the comments section and be like, oh, okay, nope. He says here that Bob caught the fact that he didn't roll the die twice for that. Okay, so that I am supposed to roll it twice.
That's exactly what I do, because if I see something that catches my eye, like, is that right? I'll check the comments first before I do anything else. And that's where the pinned comment helps me. But getting to Jen's point, watching on TV, the subtitles are really, really nice in that sense.
The only thing I watch on TV is YouTube TV. I don't ever watch YouTube on TV. I have never done that.
Oh, it's almost the only way I watch YouTube.
I watch YouTube
unless I'm doing homework, but then it's just ambient sound, so that doesn't count.
Oh, I like watching YouTube on the
carry around. See, I carry this around and then I watch YouTube on it.
The only kicker watching YouTube is there's an additional latency I noticed. So, but that makes
it's really rough for like watching streams, also with Twitch. So if I'm watching streams, I should clarify, then I usually am watching on a computer, but then I would never ask or even expect or think about the idea of somebody putting Klingon on subtitles. Like the joy of streaming is you do it and then you're done.
Yep.
Like that is the joy of streaming. You do it and then you walk on.
And then you just say, "Oh, I made those mistakes."
There
in
is
the
Snow
comments,
watching
and then
on
the
TV
next
as well.
video,
There are no mistakes when you're streaming. Unless chat catches it, there are no mistakes.
you put the pin in the comments, and then the next video you'll say, "Here's where I made these mistakes," and continue.
Oh no, I wouldn't even do that.
I do that too. There are a lot of times I'll do that, especially if it's going to be like a campaign game. Like if you watch my 7th Continent playthrough, I think at the beginning of every video I mention something like that. We'll be like, okay, we're going to jump into this game. Before we do that, I want to talk about this card.
Yeah.
This card in the last video I did wrong, and I did it. This is how it's supposed to be. So I do that. But of course, those only really work in campaign games. I mean,
I love that.
They do.
I do that. Yeah.
But by the time you get back to that one shot, unless you're playing it back to back, it's hard to be like, hey, 2 years ago when I played this game, I played this card wrong.
No, I love that in campaign games when people say, "Hey, by the way, these are the mistakes I made," or will say, "I am actually filming these back to back. So if I made mistakes in the previous one, I haven't caught it yet. You know, I will catch them, whatever, in the next one." Like
content playthrough.
Because I binge. I will watch. You know, somebody's like Shadows of Brimstone, and I will sit there for 8 hours watching like the Shadows of Brimstone, or 5 hours of Sleeping Gods, and maybe I'm working on somebody's This War of Mine like this weekend. Like
This War of Mine. Did you like my snow?
I'm sorry. Yes.
I was really
now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to paint mine. But yeah, once finals are done, that's I will be binging This War of Mine. I do think you should redo it. It's been 4 years.
In case people are wondering, Jen's actually talking about some of my playthroughs, and if you might actually have watched it back when either A, tried to use the Klingon subtitles, or I did bring back the whole like, hey, in the last episode I did this wrong, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. Those are so old that I might have been doing those at that point.
I think I only watched the setup video, and then I had to like go to bed because swim season.
That's right, swim season. So anyway, I'm hearing a lot of people using YouTube on TV. So I might actually go back to the Klingon subtitles because it, like Jen said, it's not the hardest thing to do. It's just easier to write that pinned comment. But if I have the time to do it, maybe I might start using the Klingon subtitles again, because it sounds like on YouTube TV, it's more of a pain in the butt to try to get to those comment sections than it is to actually watch and see that. So
actually, I know how to do it on one of my TVs. I'm trying to think. Actually, it's not hard to find it, but you have to act. It's not like you could just scroll down.
Right.
Like you actively have to go to the menu, pull it up, and then kind of weirdly scroll. But then you can't see if there's other comments. It's just it could take a very, very long time to find a comment. And if you're not purposely looking for it, or you don't know to look for it, there's no indication that there are comments.
Right. This is super helpful. I love this. Thank you all.
What about you, Derek? How do you manage rule stuff like that?
He usually deletes the comment. 100% kidding. 100% kidding.
I've deleted one comment in my entire YouTube one, and that one was super racist. So
at 6:32, you forgot to move the guy. Delete.
How I deal with rules mistakes in mine is that I pin them, and then I say, hey, what I missed in the last playthrough, and then just keep going. I won't do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for people who remotely like my stuff. I won't do Klingon subtitles in live streams.
No, I don't think I'd ever do them on a live stream. I think it'd be really tough.
Yeah, it's really hard to live stream, honestly. Yeah.
Because if you manipulate the video in any way, doesn't that mean the chat goes away?
That's correct.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's correct.
Yeah, what's up with the stream thing on YouTube and not being able to see chat if you don't watch live?
No, you can. If you check the box to do live chat replay when you do the video, then you see the chat live after the fact.
I have to force it to show me chat?
Well, you can set it. You can set it, and then it'll always happen.
Correct.
For the person who's uploading.
Because I feel like I used to always see people's chats, and now it doesn't show me chats. But I don't know again if that's a TV thing. But anyway, separate issue. Separate issue.
If you edit the video, if I clip any part of that video, that live chat replay is gone now. You won't see the live chat anymore.
Yeah.
So that makes it really hard when it comes to live stuff. So I personally like to keep that, so I try not to edit my live stuff intentionally for that purpose.
Yeah.
So if you see my intros are absolute a mess, and you think I should probably redo it.
Yep. But okay, I think we've actually ran over normal time, but I think this was a really good chat. So
I know I'm out of Diet Coke now. Still not sponsored. This was my second one today.
You sound like my wife.
Swim season. I need it.
That's what she says too.
yeah, it's true, Snow. There's a period of time where the chat is rendering. That's true. But yeah, let's just go around the table and just say what everyone's doing, and then we can call it a day. So, Derek, what you got coming up on your channel?
I'm not in town presently, hence my wonderful, awesome background. That is not fake.
Oh, that's right.
It is real.
It is real. It's not just rendering of some random place.
But are you
some rendering of a hotel room.
Angie's in undisclosed location.
Tuesday, every day I'm releasing a new video from my Factorio VOD. I love that game, so it's every day. I've already pre-recorded until next week, so it's all set scheduled to go out.
What?
So every day you will see a new video of that for people who are interested in Factorio. But in terms of board game streaming, Tuesday Earthborn Rangers, Thursday something, Fridays D&D, Saturday is chat, and then Sunday I think it's Earthborn Rangers again. So I'm going through all 30 days of that game. It is amazing. Yeah. Jen, what do you got coming up?
I have no idea. I have finals. But I am almost done with the semester. So I have like videos that I recorded like a while ago, like 4 or 5 of them that I just haven't edited yet. So I'm hoping to get those out, which is starting Keystone North America. And then I can't remember else now because it was so long ago. Oh, Bonsai. And then I am hoping to start doing regular streams again on Twitch now that I won't be doing homework every weekend all weekend long.
What was the first game? Keystone Capers?
Keystone North America.
Keystone Capers. You just made me feel old. Thank you.
Derek, I'm here for you. We are the old guys here.
Oh my gosh, I still remember that game.
Yep, we're the old ones. And the other two are going, Keystone, what?
Bear, what do you got coming?
So I've got Cyber Pet Quest. This is a new game by Dead or Alive Games. My friend William over at Hungry Gamer during one of our painting streams asked if I would do a playthrough of it to help them for their new game crowdfunding thing. I said I'd be more than happy to do it. So that game is coming to my channel probably either it's coming pretty soon or else they're going to wait till it's on crowdfunding and they'll want me to launch it. Then I don't know when, but I recorded it, so it's not. Colin just did Unsettled. He's back on the Unsettled kick because that just got delivered. We also got the new Drunagor stuff. So he's reading through the rule book and we're going to decide if we want to do that. But I think that just got bumped for the new Sleeping Gods expansion. So I think we're going to do that as our next campaign. What's it called?
I'm so excited.
Sorry. Is that what it's called, Jen? Distant Skies or something?
Yeah, I'm so excited. That's as soon as these finals are done,
Well, he gets that today actually, so I'll be doing an unboxing of that on Monday, and then we're going to start playing that in 3 weeks after we get done with the what do you call it? The Arkham Horror Living.
No.
In mouth.
No. I won't have it. I won't have it. Let's get the name. Which
you
cycle
like
are
that?
you on?
I said it right.
What is
it's in Smith. It's not in your mouth.
In the mouth. In the mouth.
In the mouth. And so that's and then I'm also trying to get another Kingdom Death video done. I don't know. Oh, and I painted up my guys. I painted 3 of them. I'm going to wait to do the last one on a live painting stream here, but I painted up the guys for Nova Art.
Nova Atus?
No, correct him.
I don't know how to
correct. Don't you dare correct him. Say it.
I apologize. It's in Italian. I might have to put an Italian subtitle in order to get that right.
What's the name of the game? Barrett?
It's like Nova RTS Renaissance or something.
Renaissance.
And I have to apologize to every single human out there when they watch my unboxing video where I said that it was in French Renaissance. when it actually came with a map of Italy in the box. So the map of Italy and all the places on it that the adventure is going to take place. So super excited to do my French Renaissance videos for.
So I want to point out, painting stream, anyone. I now need to paint this war of mine.
Yes, you do.
Just throwing that out there. That now that my semester is ending, I might have time to do some painting.
Jump back on.
The This War of Mine scenarios are the heart of that game. Like the scenarios are so good.
This one of mine is one of my top 10 games.
Yeah. I still have mine and I love it so much. It's but the scenarios really bring out the heart of that game.
And then Steve's got some stuff coming up, but I know Colin is doing, I think, another Unsettled playthrough, and he's also doing Earthborn Rangers still. And if anybody's interested, I know this is not even part of our channel, but I am going to say this. Doug over at Mystic Eye Games is also doing Unsettled. So if you're interested in seeing, and he's actually doing the same planet and the same scenario that Colin's doing. So if you want to see back-to-back like playthroughs of the same planet, and see how different it can be, you can check out Doug over at Mystic Eye Games. If you don't know who Doug is, then apparently you have been in content creator I don't know, dungeon or something. He is one of the guys that because of him, I made my channel. One of the guys. Mystic Eye Games has been doing content since I think 1952. He was one of the founding.
Years, it's years, age, and height. Those are the things that are variable for you.
He's been doing content creation for a long time, and he does a fantastic job. And so, if you're interested in seeing another Unsettled video, please go check out his channel as well. Steve.
Yeah,
Dungeons and Dragons on Friday. Steve.
Actually, Dungeons and Dragons on Friday. We'll have to talk about that. May or may not happen. I'll talk to you guys later.
We might not be doing Dungeons and Dragons on Friday.
Yeah.
I love how we decided that right here as opposed to talking about off-screen.
Yeah, we'll talk about off-stream a little bit.
You're hilarious.
But yeah, for next week, I've been honestly struggling a bit to get the content I want out. It comes down to reviews. I have a backlog of reviews I want to get out. And because I have this cadence of doing Monday and Wednesday streams at this specific time, I've been keeping those as much as possible. So then I'm just adding to my plate. And it's sometimes difficult to do that. So I may now, at least for the near interim, at those time slots, drop down a VOD of a review, just so I can get some of the stuff out there. Just so, because I want to keep that same time slot so people expect things. I want to maintain that. So basically what that means is I might be dropping a Vainglory Kinfire review on Monday, because I really want to get that out pretty soon here. And then I want to get back to stream this Flashpoint Fire Rescue, because I haven't played that one in forever. And we just started playing again recently, so that's I'll say really old game. It's not that old, but it makes me feel I feel like it's one of those games you can't find anymore, I think. So, but yeah, Vainglory is that's the one I'm talking about. Snow. It's the Kinfire Delve. So it's not Kinfire Chronicles. It's their card-based dungeon delve game. Very small package, quick playing. Only an hour to play. So I do have a playthrough on the channel ready for it. So
cool. So yeah, we'll talk about D&D. If it needs to get pushed, it needs to get pushed. Take the time you need. The community will be here for you whenever you're ready.
Yep, for sure.
Okay,
guys. Well, I want to thank everyone here because it was an awesome chat, and it was a lot of fun having people who joined live as well. So
cool.
Yes, you all make this what it is. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I appreciate the people that are joining me, Derek, Jen, and Steve. Even though this is not my deal, I'm really excited to have you all here.
Definitely.
I'm still a guest.
You are?
Me too. I'm still a guest.
That's great. This is a Steve and me thing. You guys are just fodder.
Yeah, there you go.
Fodder.
We're your hype people.
Okay, well, thanks
caffeinated fodder at least.
All right, thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time at the Guild. Bye-bye.
Bye.